Spacey Sims, and we are back with more London Detective Mysteria, and we're in Watson's route. So we're kind of at the end of the common route, and we're going to be probably, in this part anyway, heading into all of the Watson-specific stuff, I would think. What the fuck? My Surface is such a piece of shit. Are you fucking kidding me? What'd you do, reboot yourself? Like, and now close all my web pages, so like everything I had open with all my guides, you just closed. Like a fucking cunt. Like a fucking cunt. Oh my fucking god. Are you goddamn serious? I fucking hate this piece of shit. Why would you do this? Why would you fucking close? And now I have... Oh my god. And it was sitting over here and I clicked the button to turn it on. It's like, just a moment. And I'm like, what are you doing? Did you just reboot yourself? Like, what the fuck just happened? And now I open it, all my shit's closed. I don't... Oh. Oh my fucking god. Now I have to search for my fucking guide. Well, good. At least that came up. But now I gotta scroll through the whole fucking thing and get to where the fucking thing... I hate this. I swear to god, I just want to take it and chuck it against the wall right now. Like, I'm so mad. Like, what a piece of shit. Like, fuck you, Microsoft, and fuck your updates. Like, just go to hell. Like, you suck. You suck. Like, I don't want you to fucking update. Go to hell. Like, fuck off. Don't just fucking update my shit. Oh my god. Especially if you're gonna fucking close all my browsers. Like, oh my god, this thing update every single time I'm using a guide. It's like, update? Fuck you. You update 40 fucking times a day. Go to hell. Ugh. Cock waffles. Anyway, now that I got my guide back after a pain in my fucking ass, goddamn stupid fucking Microsoft douche holes. Why? Why are they douche holes? Like, seriously? I don't know. Anyway, so we can finally get back to where the fuck we were. So with Watson. Look at me babbling away. Yes, you were, but it's okay. We like it. Talking about us. But we don't know it's us, but we know it's us. She doesn't know, but we know. Anyway. Stories of first loves were as shameful as they come, and I'd said mine to her, which made it double... Oh, ahem! So now we're him. What the fuck? Why are all the games doing this to me? Anyway, stories of first loves were as shameful as they come, and I'd said mine to her, which made it doubly so. Worse yet, I saw her home without telling her the most important detail. If only I had the courage. Through all his talents, I'd never once felt inferior to Holmes. And then we met her, Spacey Whitley, a vision in my eyes from the moment I saw her. And from then on, every time my mind wandered and wished for her to look at me when she needed someone, I also thought something much more twisted. Watson? What? I wonder what Holmes would have done if he were in my place. Told me I was stupid? Probably. If she ever finds herself in dire straits, I want to be the one she comes to. I don't want to be the lesser one. I don't want to feel powerless to stop her suffering like when I was a boy. Told you it was us! Why do my feelings always get ahead of me? I want to think things through and be her support, but nothing goes how I wish it would. Holmes is there to give her rational advice. She's relied on him, and I'm hopelessly jealous of that. I know I can't be like him, and I shouldn't try to be. But I don't even know if I'll ever be able to say the truth. I sighed and sighed again, as if I could somehow ease my worries if I did it enough times. Huh. The lights aren't on. I would have expected Holmes to be home at this hour. I would have expected Holmes to be home at this hour. Sorry. Oh, okay. William! I don't know how to be... William! I can't quite scream in Sherlock's voice, because, as you know, I don't really know the voice that we give him, but also... Anyway. I thought I clicked the button, but apparently I didn't. And I turned and saw Sherlock Holmes, pale-faced and in a cold sweat, rushing towards me. What happened? I thought you were chasing after Holmes. I was, but I fear we've run into a new problem. Oh no, nothing's happened to him, has it? With apt timing, I heard the familiar sounds of a Scotland Yard officer blowing his whistle from further along the street. There's no time to explain. You are to come with me. Yes, sir. My nerves, previously fluttering with love, were now sparked from alarm. I followed after him in a rush. Dun dun dun. And this is the Fog Over Baker Street chapter, I think. I think that's where we were, right? So this is the... Oh no, Fog Over Baker Street is the chapter we were just in. Right, and that's the last of the common. Fog Over the East End, I think, is... Okay, when you see no matter what I tried, he refused again and again. That's where we save, because that's where we're going to have our split endings. But, okay. The dead of night hung heavy over the streets of London upon this hour. I don't know if I'm supposed to be him. Wait. How is my battery for my controller low? It's been plugged in until just recently, I guess, because it... Alright, hold on. Hopefully I don't pull my thing off. I don't understand how my battery for my controller can be low. It's always plugged in. It hasn't been tonight because, well, I left it unplugged for about an hour while I wasn't recording, but it was, so I don't know, but whatever, that's stupid. I don't know if I'm just going to read this normal because I don't want to read it in Watson's voice because it hurts me. Anyway, on this night, if one were to peek into a certain dimly lit underground room, one might chance to see two figures engaged in a dealing most clandestine. I'm sure you are fully aware of why I've summoned you here. I have no need of you to... I have need of you to eliminate a traitor to the organization. A simple task beginning to end. All that's required is for you to do as you're instructed. Empty from your mind all but your service to the organization. Your service to me. And be certain that no remains are left to be found. Understood? Silk Hatter. Yes, sir. Exactly what I wish to hear. How felicitous. Felicitous. Felicitous? Felicitous? What is... I don't know. Anyway. That things should proceed just so. After so long, I shall finally savor my vengeance upon that loathsome Sherlock Holmes and his son. That's probably what's-his-face, but... Through the school... Though the school day had scarcely begun, a pall lay over the classroom, lending it a grim atmosphere. I can't read. You know what? I'm just quit while I'm ahead. Have you seen the morning paper? Seems there's been another murder in the East End. Another prostitute, I've heard. I can only pray they clap the irons on the culprit soon. Yeah, it sounds as though Scotland Yard has their work cut out for them, though they've not been able to turn up any leads with this Jack the Ripper fellow they're after. I, too, had read in the morning's paper that the mutilated body of a woman, identified as one Miss Nichols, had been discovered in the Whitechapel area of the East End. This makes her the third prostitute to be murdered, and yet the culprit has left no clues that could help the authorities uncover his identity. Watch, it's not actually Jack, being Jack the Ripper. It just intrigues me, though, that, like, we're gonna fall in love with Lupin, who's a fucking thief, but he's so, like, just amazing, right? But also, then she's gonna have a path where she's romancing a murderer? Just really seems out of character for her. I'm okay with it, because I'm a crazy bitch, but she just doesn't seem like her character. But anyway. Just then, I looked up to see Watson entering the classroom. Good morning, Watson. He appeared to be preoccupied with some matter, as his characteristic good humor was nowhere to be seen. I rather like his hearty greetings, but he appears to be all sighs today. What's gotten into him? Watson? Sorry. Good morning, Spacey. There we are. I finally managed to get his attention. Pardon my asking, but you look out of sorts. Are you well? What? Is that how I look? I think your active imagination's been at work. For all his attempts to reassure me, he appeared too preoccupied, too shaken, and averted his eyes so as not to meet mine. Even were I a complete stranger, his actions would have been queer. You're not an actor, I'll have you know. You're one to stride in here with blustering confidence, But today you're so sorrowful. That's, I don't know, I can't read today, and I can't say words that I know. Sorrowful. Why is that so hard to say? What? You know what? I seriously, I just can't with my brain. Besides, seeing you arrive without Holmes nearby is unusual in itself. Has something happened to him? You must tell me if it has. It's nothing worth the fuss. He's caught a cold, you see. A cold? Yes, a cold. A murderous one at that. I doubt he'll be setting foot outside the flat anytime soon, so you won't see him for quite a bit. That explains it. But what could have Holmes laid up and weakened by a cold? A man like that. Well, after classes are done for the day, permit me to come and No, you can't. And why can't I? Because you might, catch it from him. Yes, afraid it can be when a cold like his starts going around. That certainly is true, but then wouldn't you be most at risk to catching it and spreading it to the rest of us? I'll be all right. My dad's a doctor. A doctor's son would know that isn't true. I'm sure he would be very pleased to know you're concerned, but for now it's best you not disturb him. Let him rest. Could he truly have been so ill? Watson's insistence served only to worry me all the more for Holmes's health. What if I were to just briefly see how he's faring? I'm afraid you can't. I've not caught a single cold in my life. Then you're a lucky girl, but that doesn't change my mind. No matter what I tried. No matter what I tried, he refused again and again. Okay, this is where we save. So I'm going to save here. Boop. Okay. Is it worth the trouble? Accept what he says. Very well then. I wouldn't want to put him out when he's ill. I only ask that you tell him to get well soon, all right? Tell him to get well soon. I will, thank you. His expression was one of relief. I know you mean well. I really do know that's why you want to see him. I do, but it's not worth the quarrel. You ought to mind your own health as well, of course. Me? When you look so sad, I can't help but feel the same. It's all right to look after Holmes, but don't do so till you've gone and exhausted yourself. Okay, all right. The way I read it when I was reading it just didn't make sense. Anyway. Do you hear me? Right. Thank you for understanding, Spacey. I hope his condition improves soon. I hope so too. I'll keep a close eye on him so that he'll be back to school in no time. There was pain in this, for Watson's tone suggested his encouragement was not only for me, but for himself also. I returned to the mansion by carriage after school. My lady, welcome home! I don't know if that's Alicia's voice, but whatever. It should have been Pendleton who welcomed me home, as he always did. I miss you, Pendleton. However, as he was away visiting one of the family's land holdings, the duty fell to Alicia. Thank you, Alicia. Has the day gone well here? We received a delivery of fruit today, and they taste exceptional. I shall prepare you some with your dinner if you'd like. What kinds of fruit? We've apricots that are especially fresh, and though I've yet to sample them, the oranges and lemons look delicious. Why not take some to share with your schoolmates? I don't know. Like it. When she mentioned my friends, the first of them that came to mind was Watson. Watson in that terribly anxious expression. Those puppy eyes. Fruits seem as thoughtful a gift for one suffering a cold. Okay. If only... And there was more to recall with him, like what he'd said regarding Holmes. No, I'm afraid you can't. And then you're a lucky girl, but that doesn't change my mind. He may become very cross if I went to see Holmes after he insisted I not go. Alicia, Yes, are you troubled with something, my lady? You can see it? You aren't yourself. Your eyes are like goddamn dinner plates, and they're extremely creepy. I Any other day, I should think you'd have me wrap some for you immediately, saying you know the perfect person to give them to. Would I? But with how terrible Watson made Holmes's cold sound, he may be in no condition to accept gifts. Goodness, if there's one gift that suits a cold, it's fresh fruit. Really? I've never heard that, but okay. I mean, vitamin C. Oranges, but I ran my fingers over some of the fruit that Alicia held out to me. It certainly did look delicious. That's true. Surely it wouldn't hurt to deliver a small basket of fruit. I heartily agree. It won't be more than a few minutes. I shall have a basket and a carriage prepared for you. So long as I don't greet him and simply deliver this to their door, Watson may not mind. God damn it, Tim. Where will you be going? Holmes and Watson's Baker Street office. All right. Do take care, however. Those Jack the Ripper murders are all they speak of in the paper these days. I shall. I read that weird, but with the fruit to be delivered in my possession, I sat inside the carriage, swaying from side to side as the wheels clattered over the streets. Oh, that's Tower Bridge over the River Thames. From the window, I could see the bridge, still undergoing construction, but after a few more turns, my view was obscured by a building. As the carriage continued on, I caught sight of a familiar figure on the street. And that long hair and hat looks almost like... Well, it is! Stop the carriage! It was him, but why? I made to act the second the driver called the carriage to a halt. I leapt from it, hurrying after the man I was sure had been Watson. I've never been to this part of the city before. In pursuit of Watson, I found myself in unfamiliar environs. The buildings were dirty and broken down, and the clothes of those walking the streets were tattered and soiled. The sun must have been sinking into the west as the streets were casting gloom and the air unpleasant to breathe. And there was a pervasive, wretched smell, the source of which I could not discern, but I found myself instinctively reaching up to cover my nose and mouth to avoid inhaling it. What business could Watson possibly have here? I hurried to ask that very question that paused upon my tongue, but the distance between us was still too great to call out to him. His hair is like calf length, like Jesus. It took the whole of my focus and energy to match his pace and avoid losing sight during my pursuit. I don't believe there are any hospitals in this area, and nor can I imagine any reputable chemist would live or work in such a place. But I can't imagine Watson leaving Holmes alone when he's not well. Oh, a drunkard, okay. Hello there, girl. Huh? Suddenly a man clad in filthy garments stood before me, blocking my path. Judging by that pretty dress, you must be a noble. What should I do? If I don't hurry, I'll lose sight of Watson. I'm very sorry, but I'm in a bit of a hurry right now. I made as though to hurry past him and continue after Watson, but he moved to intercept me at once. You got to stay, miss. Without saying more, he reached down and grabbed me by the wrist. If you're one of them lawful nobles, you must have a good penny on you. I wouldn't notice a bit of a... Wouldn't notice a bit of a... What's a dunashen? Dunashen? For a few pints I'd lay. I don't know what a dunashen is. I can't even figure out what that is in okay, well, they're writing the accent in, but I can't. And someone's gonna point out it's just like a slurred word, and I'm gonna be like, oh, anyway. Unhand me! Could also be like old-timey speak, so who knows. Alcohol. A stink when too foreign. A horror when one who was weak to it designed to consume it. Wait. A stink when too foreign. A horror when one who was weak to its design consumed it, wafted from this man. Wow, holy shit. Hold on. Shit, I just had to sneeze. He was presently under its deviled haze. And he leant unsteadily close to me. Wow, that whole thing was just, I don't even know what happened. My wrist began to hurt as he tightened his grip. I need to do something. At this rate... Panicking in the moment, I pushed his hand away with all the force I could. And when my circumstances were near hopeless, a familiar voice cried out, "Wait!" Hmm? There, standing right before me, was the very man I'd been pursuing. He grabbed the man's arm, glaring at him with a stern countenance that desired revenging. What do you want? I was about to ask you the very same. What do you think you're doing to my friend? Watson. Thought you were alone. Spitting back a resentful reply, the man let go of my wrist with a rough shake. I ain't looking to do nothing. She come here walking through like she need a bit of attention. Can't blame a man for trying to oblige her. What? At last the drunkard ambled away, still shaky on his feet. Watson, I can explain. Hold on just a minute, Spacey. Oh. When at last I was safe, Watson took the same risk the drunkard had. What a difference. The former created pain and fear. This man, however, only sought to heal me. I knew it. It's left a bruise. I'm all right, I promise. No, you're not. That drunkard was really rough with you. What was that nonsense about looking like you wanted some attention, too? How rude. You never look like that. If anything, your face just makes others want to pay attention to you. What? Really? At least, I think so. He examined me with a medical eye. With so light a touch, my skin tickled. In this environment, so ill-suited to me, Watson's presence gave me solace. It's so strange. Just minutes before, I felt so uneasy, so scared. But now, I feel completely at ease, all because Watson is here with me. Thank you, Watson, for saving me. You needn't thank me for that. If anything, I wish I had noticed you sooner. He released his hold on me before averting his eyes. Still, what are you doing in a place like this? Surely you're aware that the East End is a dangerous place to be. Certainly not the haunt of any reputable persons. I'm sorry. You see, I'm here because I've been following you all this time. All this time? You've been trailing me since I left the office? And not that long. I had intended to pay Holmes a visit, but it seems not going to the office was the right choice. Wait, you already know he's not in the office then. What? But Holmes is resting in his room, isn't he? Well... What to say? Speak, Watson! I want to cry it, but though he wished to comply, something prevented him from doing so. He searched, paused. Certainly he was at a loss. I really am a terrible liar, aren't I? A liar? Unfortunately so. Though there's no point in maintaining the act any longer. I had really hoped to keep it a secret, though. He fell into another lull of silence. More searching, more opening and closing of the mouth, more wrinkled brows and concentration before lifting them at a possible solution. Racked nerves possessed him. Holmes doesn't have a cold. He has been caught up in something far worse. He'd be so much more adorable if he didn't have the jellyfish fucking hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just imagine, like, without this. I mean, even if he had, like, even if he had long hair, I don't understand why they have to do it short all the way around and then this long underneath. Like, what is with the, like, full around mullet? It's like a mullet, but it's not even, because it's not short in the front, long in the back. It's, like, short all the way fucking around and then long underneath. It's, like, some kind of creepy, weird... hybrid mullet, and it's jellyfish hair, and I don't like it. Jellyfish are cool, but not on your head. Don't understand. See, even the bird thinks so. What? No, okay. I don't know why we have to have this conversation so many times. You have to go in your cage to drink the water bottle. Why are you so fucking mentally challenged? You are like the dumbest fucking bird ever. I know you want to drink water, but you know how to do this. You've had that water bottle for like a fucking year. You've had that in your cage for like a year. You know baby bird figured out how to drink out of that before you did. Why are you so stupid? Like, my bird is such a fucking idiot. He's like the dumbest fucking... I swear to God, he's mentally challenged. Like, Why? Why are you so dumb? Come here. Come here. Well, don't shriek at me then. Anyway. What do you mean? What happened to him? Well, you see, Watson remained ever darkened as he began to relate his story. Fuck, I gotta sneeze again. It happened after I saw you home when it was night. Holmes's dad and I rushed to see him, but when we arrived, a shocking scene awaited us. Holmes! We had come too late, arriving just as he was being taken away by Yard. The Yard? Hello, Father. I see you're with Watson this time. Had I come alone, you wouldn't have spoken to me out of sheer stubbornness. I feel like Sherlock Holmes has a different voice every single time we see him, but... Holmes, what happened? I was lured into a trap. A trap? You? Yes, I'm being falsely accused of murder. Holmes appeared tensely frustrated by something. His eyes were focused on someone else being carried away by the Yard's officers. A corpse. The robed man I was chasing after was little more than a disposable pawn. He used the close quarters of our battle to slip a pistol into my pocket, and was then summarily shot. Immediately after? Indeed, and furthermore the shooter, one mysterious man in black, seemed acquainted with you, Father. Then, don't you think this might be the work of that organization you mentioned, Mr. Holmes? Spellbound, wasn't it? Spellbound? What is that? That's enough out of you. I dare say you'll have plenty of opportunity to talk at the station. Our conversation was interrupted by a nearby officer. Hold on a moment. There must be some mistake. Holmes hasn't killed anyone. The real culprit is... Do as you will. Holmes? It was odd. There he was in handcuffs. A boy detective being accused of gruesome murder, and he was calm. Watson, trying to convince anyone of my innocence under the current circumstances is entirely pointless, especially without any evidence. But still! Unless we can provide proof of the existence of the true culprit, trying to prove my innocence will be a Herculean task. Isn't that so, Father? Yes, you have the right of it. But that's just... Watson, you have a tendency to be more than a little reckless at times. Your honesty and straightforwardness are strengths that often serve you well, but you ought to take care not to act in a thoughtless manner. But you're asking me to simply stand and watch as you're hauled away for a crime you didn't even commit. Calm yourself and act not in haste. That's a fundamental requirement for any detective, and at present, that goes double for you. And besides, this responsibility is mine alone to bear, and you needn't concern yourself over it. And so we looked on as Holmes was escorted away by carriage. You should go home, William. What about you? What'll you do? For my part, I'm going to have a little chat with the police, offering my assistance with their investigation in return for keeping the world in the dark about these events, at least for a time. I mislike the prospect of my son's good name being tarnished by the ignominy of even a false charge. What is that? I don't know. There's so many words in here that I'm like, I don't even know. Are those real English words? I don't think they are. You're falsificating words. Let me come with... Sorry, but I can't allow it. If I let you tag along as though you're my assistant, I can't imagine my son would be too pleased about that. What else could be done? We had no power against the police, nor any proofs to furnish his innocence. In the end, to watch was all we could do. So that's what really happened to him. So you came here in the hopes of uncovering some clue that might give you a lead in the case, then? That's right. It's not all unusual for criminals to be cited here in the East End, so I thought perhaps... Say no more. I'll help you. I really can't allow you to do that. The confession of that night was a great burden to him. You need to get home straight away. I'll escort you out of here safely, but after that you must promise me you'll return to your estate. But I cannot simply sit idle while Holmes is facing a false charge. Not when I could help him. Believe me, I know exactly how you feel. I want to do all in my power to help him, too. Hold on. All of a sudden, I don't know. But I can't risk putting you in danger. I just can't. Watson! Yet we cannot continue this. Our conversation was soon interrupted by unwelcome interlopers. Heh! Would you look at that? Tim Drunker was right. From out of the lengthening shadows, a group of men approached. What do you want? Watson took my arm and stood to the fore to shield me from potential harm. We heard there was a noblewoman poking her nose round here. Not to worry. We don't care to take lives. All you need to leave is what's worth selling and your money, and then you can trot back home. Doing my best to read that accent. Listen to me very closely, Spacey. Watson? His tone took on that of a whisper. Never once did his focus leave the brutes. I'll take care of things here, so I want you to run all the way to the main street. If you follow the alleyways, it shouldn't take long to get there. But then you'll be fine. The two things in which I pride myself on being Holmes's better are street fighting and idle talk. I'll follow after you once I'm done here. That's a promise. All right. But you had best not forget that promise, because I won't. I know. I understand his signal. I broke into a run. What? Wait, I think not. Though it was with a great deal of difficulty that I tore myself away, I began to run through the twilight streets of London's East End. Twilight streets. I coursed through the narrow alleyways as if trying to shroud my presence in the gradually thickening fog. Oh dear, I think I may be lost. No matter how many back-end streets and alleys I passed through, I never seemed to emerge on the main road. I hope Watson is safe. How long has it been? I feel as though I've been running for quite some time now. My path, uncoursed with no comfort in sight, narrowed upon my every turn, and my surroundings took on new layers of darkness. I chanced to pause for a moment and conceal myself in the shadows of a nearby building to survey the area. The road was starkly empty, not one other living soul to be seen. All of this began when I decided I ought to trail Watson through the East End, but all I've managed to accomplish is to cause him a great deal of trouble. Ensconced in naught but fog and silence, I huddled there, filled with an overwhelming sense of guilt for my actions. What to do now? Should I stay here and wait for Watson, or should I continue on? Something then caught my attention. What's that? Click, click, click. The muted tap of fast-moving heels on pavement. This movement grew louder at a healthy speed. Whatever it was, it approached. The fog and night both made it too difficult to see anything distinct. Could that be Watson? I peered out from the shadows of the building, readying myself, be it an enemy or ally. It was foolish. Wait, what's that? Something reflected even through the fog, casting a lurid light in my direction. Jack the Ripper. I squinted, frozen and unnerved, hoping to identify whatever this was through the murk. Oh, Silk Hatter. Oh no, this is the other guy, not Jack the Ripper. Oh, I wonder if when you're watching, when we're doing the loading screen and like whatever, when it does the load, there's a character back here that has like a top hat on, and I keep always wondering like, who the fuck is this? I wonder if it's this dude. What moonlight managed to pierce the gaps between the clouds and fog illuminated the figure of a man wearing a silk hat. His face was lost in the shadow of the hat's brim. I could not see their face, not even a hint of their nose and the unnatural dew colored over one's eyes. All was lost in the dark to create an unidentifiable, faceless creature. What I saw then, however, were bladed claws, not unlike an animal's talons, equipped to both of his hands. These claws gleamed coldly in the light as they sped towards the running man's throat. The next moments came with such a raw suddenness that I was stunned into silence. A rush of air was crushed out of his throat. This man could not breathe. He could only bubble out labored murmurs that bespoke a greater agony. You wonder if the Silk Hatter is the one who is murdering people and it's not Jack. Because you know what I mean? Like, again, if Jack's a murderer, like, how are we going to explain to her path that she's like, I'm a detective, but like, I'm cool with dating a murderer? I mean, Lupin steals from people and gives back, like, okay, he steals pretty things. So, okay. His father was the one who, like, I'm going to steal, well, or actually, no, even Lupin he steals stolen things or, like, whatever. Like, so he's not actually, I mean, I could see her being like, okay, well, I mean, like, he's doing a Robin Hood thing. But, like, how are you going to murder? How are we going to wrap around that? I don't know. Anyway. Then, when a dull thump, he slumped at the feet of his assailant. With? I think it's supposed to say. The fight in him was gone and would never come to him again. His life, for all the years that had passed without grave error, made the one mistake of being here, in this moment, in the path of a monster, and was thus snuffed out with a disturbing quickness that did not afford him one final scream. It was a pitiable, anticlimactic end. Now what should I do? Think! The murder to which I had just bore witness was not that of a prostitute, and yet the method, the swift slashing of the throat, the lack of noise, brought to mind the stories that had filled the newspapers. The brim of the killer's hat was cocked downwards to admire the body at his feet. His clothes, equally dark and lacking anything that would bring him distinction, dissolved into the shadows. It was only the claws which stood out, and then, when the moonlight shone strongest through the fog moments later, a hint of pale hair. Actually, though, maybe Jack is the Silk Hatter. I mean, you don't know, right? We know Lupin is Lupin, but, and you think Jack is Jack he is Jack the Ripper, but is he really doing the killing? I mean, who knows? You never know. I'm just curious because I'm just seriously like, how are we going to get away with the, like, oh, we're dating a murderer? I just don't understand how we're going to do that. Like, she's such a goody-goody. Like, how is she going to marry a murderer? Like, but then you wonder, like, is the Silk Hatter actually Jack the Ripper? Or is it Jack the Ripper's dad? All their dads are in this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just so curious. But anyway. Droplets of dark blood ran in rivulets over the steel, pausing a moment before falling to spatter against the ground. Blood smell hung in the air, and with every breath I found the pernicious odor of death more unpleasant. I love how they throw words in here that are, like, pernicious, at least, but, like, there's so many words that you're like, wow, did you dig these out of a thesaurus? You're like, wait, it's old-timey language. Like, holy shit. Balderdash and pernicious. Pernicious canids. My heart thundered within my chest. My hands were trembling, palms moist with sweat. I feared that if I were to take even a moment to collect myself, I would surely faint. My fear had anchored me utterly. No, I need to run. If I stay here any longer, I'll surely die. But if you stay, he might not notice you. If you run, he's definitely going to notice you. Sweat prickled at the back of my neck, at the bad of my neck. Oh, at the base of my neck. God damn it, Tim. Shit. Ah! Suddenly, I felt a hand reach around and cover my mouth. My mind went blank with unspeakable terror. It's Watson. Quiet. Stay perfectly still. The voice that whispered into my ear was one I recognized. I told you it was Watson. I mean, come on. Is that Watson? When I knew that it was he who stood behind me, I was overwhelmed with such relief that it was as if my very life had been restored. The greatest part of my fear had fled away. Spacey, we need to get away without him noticing us, okay? I quietly nodded in consent. She's going to trip over something. But my movement was not smooth as I took the first step back for a cautious retreat. My boot made contact with a pebble, sending it skittering across the ground. You knew something. You knew she was going to fuck up somehow. We need to get away without him hearing us. Okay, so she's going to crash into like, fall down a cliff, like, Literally make all the noise in the world. She didn't make all the noise in the world, so, better than I expected, but you still knew she was going to fuck this up. In the silence of the night, even so little a sound echoed in my ears. Hold on. Before that small stone had even come to a rest, the silk-hatted man, now further down the alley, stopped and turned. Oh my god, I think it is Jack. So he's not so there is a dude though that always shows up in the thing over here. Like Jack's here, and then there's like a guy with a top hat. Oh my god, this is actually. But you know what I love? He's wearing a silk top hat. Don't recognize him. Lupin's not wearing glasses. Don't recognize him. It's seriously like, wow, you people and your inability to deduce your friends is. I mean, Lupin's at least like, I'm being Lupin. As opposed to like, oh my god, I'm awkward. But like, how? Okay. Who's there? He noticed us. Well, have it your way. Last words ain't worth the breath. Oh, he looks scary. Get back, Spacey! Watson made to both whisper and shout at once as he pulled me backwards. Watson! I stumbled, looking at him as I tried to regain my footing. You're Jack the Ripper, aren't you? But there's something so, like, pretty about him like that. Doesn't he look like a doll? Like, and sometimes, like, ventriloquist dummies are scary as shit. And, like, but, like, almost like a marionette, which is still creepy, but pretty. It's like a creepy pretty, right? Like, do you feel it? Do you feel the creepy pretty? You're like, he's so pretty like a doll, but it's almost creepy. Like, there are some, and I'm not talking about, like, there's actually, like, Black Butler dolls that they made that are, like, very feminine looking kind of dolls, but there's something you're like, they're pretty, but kind of creepy at the same time. There's something about it, because dolls kind of creep me out a little. Like, Barbies never bother me, but, like, baby dolls creep me out, and, like, porcelain dolls creep me, like, a lot of dolls creep me out. Like, Barbies and stuff like that don't, but, like, most other types of dolls do. So, but there's something about him that has that doll quality that makes it creepy, but it's also pretty. It's like, am I the only one? Like, dolls are kind of fucking creepy. And, like, somebody's just like, oh, they're pretty. I wouldn't want that in my house because it's going to come to life and it's going to fucking kill me. Like, but there's something about him. Like, he's so pretty, but creepy. That's the best I can do is pretty but creepy. Like, it's a pretty creepy, but not in a bad way. Like, oh my god, creepy. It's like, it's a little creepy, but I kind of like, there's something, like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I like it, but I don't. Like, I don't know. I'm so confused. Anyway. The claws of the man Watson, now suspected of being the infamous killer, raked through the place where I only just was. How dare you try to kill me, Jack? We're supposed to be friends! The fatal slice was stopped mid-swing as Watson gripped the Ripper's arm. Unless he's, like, under some kind of mind control. You just tried to kill her, didn't you? What of it? You only targeted prostitutes before. Why kill her? Yeah, because I'm supposed to be your friend! And then he's scary like that. Why do you think? When I kill, I make certain to clean up after myself. If a certain girl happens to have seen me, she dies too. Ain't much more to it. He swung his other clawed tips toward Watson, forcing the assistant to release him. And, like, again, you don't recognize his voice? Or the accent? Nothing? Like, I mean, okay, just like. Good. There was little stamina left on Watson's part to keep up this act. He kicked away the Ripper with a weighted boot to avoid yet another close encounters attack. Watson, we need to run! Sorry, Spacey. I'd like to, but it's no use. He's after the both of us now. Unless we do something, he'll continue to pursue us until he kills us. Spacey, I want you to run first. I can't do that. I just can't. I can't be the one to escape to safety while you risk your life and limb for me again. And Jack the Ripper's like, I'm just gonna wait. Are you ready? I want to, lover squirrel, I get it. You guys have it out. The fact was this. Jack the Ripper was intent on murdering us both. And he knows where you go to school. Just like, I don't want to run away and leave you behind again. I want to stay with you. Here's the weird part. He is your schoolmate. And I get that he doesn't give a fuck about Watson, but we're his friend. We wrote him letters. We were pen pals. Does that mean nothing? The sanctity of the pen pal has been forsooketh. Spacey. Damn it. Under more ordinary circumstances, I'd be glad to hear you say that. I don't got time to listen to this rot. Just die. Both of you. No, I think not. I wonder if when he's wearing the hat, he's crazy. Like, literally, you know what I mean? Like, oh, take the hat off. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, Jack? Watson was the first to spring forwards and narrow the gap between them. But the Ripper was an agile creature, and he left the boy nothing but air to strike. You're not getting away. No matter, Watson stamped his foot to the ground, using the repellent momentum to empower another closed fist. It worked. The Ripper raised his arm to block it, only to be forced off his balance upon contact. That won't do. I shan't be bested by a bloomin' idiot who only knows how to keep up with a backyard raw. Backyard raw? Okay. Another attack on Watson's part was readied. What? Only for his target to disappear. Damn him. He's using the fog as cover. Where could he be now? I looked from side to side, scrutinizing the scene to perceive his outline or the glint of his claws. It was a pointless effort. The fog was simply too thick for this to be done. What? Instinct. Oh, that terrible undertone of something about to go wrong. Something was behind me and instinct took to me. Spacey, get down! I dropped to the ground as quickly as I was able. No sooner had I moved than Jack the Ripper's claws raked through the fog mere centimeters from the side of my face. All color left me. How? I hadn't heard so much as a footstep. This man we faced moved and fought like nothing I'd ever known. If Watson hadn't alerted me, I would be dead. You dodged. Well done. Was just the one, though. You won't be so lucky for the next. He came to me again, lashing at me precisely with his claws. No, I won't be able to dodge. I forbid it. Watson saw an exposed side and chanced another attack. The Ripper retreated but briefly. So who's Akechi gonna fight in his? Like, you know what I'm saying? We only got 5 love interests, and you know what I mean? We got Lupin and Holmes, Watson and Ripper. Like, I mean, you know, predictable to the last. Predictable to the last. I can't quite do that accent with predictable. What was that? Shut up. I don't know if he would say shut when he have something else kind of accenty. I don't know. Anyway. A commander of stealth, this assassin was. There was no other way to describe how he moved with both aggression and restraint, exposed himself under the moon whilst becoming one with the fog. How is this accomplished? Oh, to watch, to see it and still not understand. It brought forth fear of the unknown and death packaged in a single gift basket. The fucking pros in this. I mean, can we just for a second? Death, fear of the unknown and death packaged in a single gift basket. I can't. What? Watson, watch out! My cry, though urgent, was too slow. I watched as Jack the Ripper tore without mercy into Watson's arm. I had no strength left in me to scream. You little... That's enough out of you. Stop acting the fool. Gah! My ally in this was attacked at the pit of his stomach by our enemy's knee, sending him reeling against the wall. Damn it! This blow had been strong. His senses left him but temporarily, as I could have seen the way his eyes flickered in their fight to remain conscious. He slid down to his knees and could only breathe through strangled gasps. And so the Ripper took his time to approach again. If I stand idly by, Watson's blood will be on my hands. Stop! I ran between the two. I knew this was folly. I had no chance at all against Jack the Ripper. I had not an ounce of skill, and he had all of it. But the one who stood till he could not was on the path of being slaughtered. I couldn't stand for doing nothing. Every time I would choose to be foolish over cruel. Jack the Ripper kept his slow pacing, and as he dragged his feet, perhaps knowing I would hear it, my skin crawled, my muscles twitched, my bottom lip quivered. Again, instinct whisper, then screamed, "Run, you idiot!" But I rooted myself to the spot. Out of me way. No! If that's how you want it, you'll just be the first. He stopped, raised his bloody talons. Would it soon be my own blood that bathed those instruments of savage murder? I closed my eyes and waited for the end to come. Waited. You... Huh? When nothing had come, I opened them again. I was like, wait. Watson! Watson staggered to his feet and latched onto the Ripper's clawed hand to stop it in its tracks. Like, look how stupid she looks. Like, you're ruining this. You're ruining this with how stupid you look. Agony was scrawled across his face, his breathing still impeded by pain, and still, even then, he refused to let go. There is no more choices in this game, just FYI. The last 3 chapters, none. What was that? Their sharpness brought about more pain as the tips pressed into his hand, sliding through skin and issuing blood from each of these fresh wounds. Call me an idiot. Call me a fool. Call me whatever you like. Look at the look on his face, so intense. And don't you ever try to harm her again. That's something I won't forgive. Watson, don't! Your hand! This made his hand slick, but Watson just squeezed harder as his entire arm quaked from the surging pain. What should I do? At this rate, he surely can't hold out much longer. You that eager to go? Of course not. Finally, Watson twisted himself to angle that would allow him to yank the Ripper's arm forwards, but it was to no avail. You... What he did avail was anger. His face still could not be seen, but a temper began to reflect how the Ripper moved. His next move was a wild, poorly thought lunge with his free arm at Watson's throat. Watson! Watson's legs tensed beneath him. If I were to fall here, who would protect Spacey? He weaved to the side, evading the attack by a hair's breadth. With one arm still in his grasp and the other flung wide, he saw the opening he so intensely needed. He pulled back his fist and landed a hammering blow to the side of the Ripper's head. Dazed by the spear's hit, he stumbled backwards and fell to his knees. Watson! I leaned over Watson, who had fallen to his knees also. There was no more fight in him. The tension had been drained, and blood dripped through plenteous drops into small pools at both of his sides. How do you... The Ripper, however, moved to his feet for another bout, one we could not afford. And here we were, finally rewarded. The shrill cry of Scotland Yard's whistles filled the alleyway. This is how they raise the alarm. The crime has been committed, isn't it? The Ripper turned to the noise and swiftly back to us, a sense of loathing for his victory being cut short. Then, much like a specter at the sight of dawn, he vanished into fog. Hey, wait! Yeah, like he's gonna... Easy, Watson. Don't try to move. But he's getting away. Please. Watson moved to follow, but I clasped my hands firmly on his shoulders, for even I had more strength now than him to keep him from running. My lady, Watson! Pendleton! Pendleton? You showed up. Pendleton? You're here? I first made him out as he emerged from the fog. Several officers were at his side. Are you all right, my lady? The coach driver returned to the mansion in a fit of panic, saying he lost sight of you when you bolted from the carriage. I'm fine, but Watson is hurt. I'm fine, Pendleton. How'd you know to seek us out here? The Jack the Ripper murders are on the lips of every man and woman in London, you see. I decided to investigate the area myself, on the hunch that Lady Whitley might be investigating something dangerous. But as I searched the East End, I overheard word of a young man taking out a band of would-be muggers. Oh, so that's how. I'm so sorry, Pendleton. It's entirely my fault that she was caught up in all of this. That's not true, and you know it. It was I who decided to trail you without so much as a word, hoping you wouldn't notice. And now, because of me, you ended up with such terrible injuries. With the moment over, I saw again the depths of his injuries, the imprints at his palm and the slices along his arms, and the shame of having been integral to their cause welled within my heart. What rubbish, these feelings! Being rubbish did not prevent them from being ever present. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Spacey. As a gesture to ease his pain, I wrapped my handkerchief over his wounded hand. Spacey, you're going to soil your handkerchief. I don't mind. He pulled it away, but I simply drew it back towards me. I'm just glad you're all right, Watson. And thank you for saving me. I wish I could look at him directly as I thanked him, but my guilt in the moment was far stronger than my pluck. It was this, and the urge to break down into sobs, that prevented me from trying. All right. And so he simply held my hand. I'm glad you came out all right, too. Perfect place to end. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this part up here, and we're going to continue. We've got 2 more chapters, and then our ending, the good ending. So maybe another part or 2. I mean, because this one seemed kind of like longish. We're not even to the next chapter, but we've no more choices left in this one, and there's actually no more choices in the game, and now my thing isn't scrolling like stupid. Anyway, so we're probably almost to the next chapter, but anyway. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.